There are three things I think every business owner should be doing right now. Number one, learn to communicate with AI. It speaks in natural language, so you can just sit down and start talking to it. Ask questions, be inquisitive. Find communities like ours where you can learn the basics of prompt structure. Just understand how to communicate with AI and how it works.
The AI Grapple, where the future begins.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the AI Grapple Podcast. I am your host, Kate VanderVoort from Social Mediology, and today we have a special guest who's a true pioneer in the AI space. Joining us is Stu Jordan, the no-nonsense founder of Evolution Unleashed, a thriving community dedicated to helping businesses harness the transformative power of AI. Known for his direct approach, Stu believes that ignoring AI is akin to ignoring a tsunami while building a sandcastle. With a mission to guide leaders and transform outdated business models, he's here to share his insights and experiences. So buckle up and get ready for an insightful conversation filled with actionable tips and strategies to help you stay ahead in the AI era. Please remember to subscribe on your favorite podcast channel, and let's dive into the world of AI with Stu Jordan. Welcome everyone to the AI Grapple Podcast. I am here today with Stu Jordan. Now, Stu is the no-nonsense founder of Evolution Unleashed, a community dedicated to helping businesses harness the power of AI. Known for his direct approach, Stu warns that ignoring AI is like ignoring a tsunami whilst building a sandcastle. He believes in transforming outdated business methods and guiding leaders to unlock the immense potential of AI. With a vision to building future-defining businesses, Stu is on a mission to lead the charge in the AI era. So welcome, Stu.
Thank you, Kate. I appreciate the opportunity to speak to your audience.
Before I get you to tell us a little bit about your AI journey, I just want to share that when I start in any new aspect of my business, I go out and I find the best communities that exist and the people who I really resonate with, who are kind of leading the way. And your community, I think, was one of the first that I found as I dove into the world of AI. And I can't rave enough about it. I send loads of people your way. It's such a genuine and authentic community where you develop for such huge amounts of value. And I personally have learned a lot from you on using AI for business. So I'm thrilled to be having this chat with you today. But why don't we kick off with you telling us a bit about your journey and how you got into the world of AI?
Thanks, Kate, and I appreciate the comments on the community. We worked very hard to do something a bit different. How did I get into AI? I've always been a science fiction fan, I really enjoy science fiction. Peter F. Hamilton, space opera, talks about this future world where AI is a very different beast. And it's always fascinated me. I've always been following AI. But in terms of why I'm in the business of AI now, basically, if I roll the clock back, I was running an agency, my own agency. We were helping agency owners with things that cause chaos in their business. We were helping them install systems and processes, dealing with creative agency owners. So we had to come up with very flexible systems to allow their creative freedom while not creating a bunch of fires and helping them align their roles. So it's some really interesting stuff we were doing, helping agencies install better systems or scale. ChatGPT launched while we were going down that path and dealing with these agency clients. So, of course, the day I saw that little cursor dancing across the screen, I was hooked. It was like, finally, science fiction is real. This is what I've been waiting for literally decades. And there it was before me. And I instantly wanted to start pushing it and learning how to use it. But how I first started using it and how I ended up here was by applying it to my business. It's like we had a 162-hour workflow. per client. Average blended cost per client was 162 hours of time in terms of units. And we charge around $18,000 to $25,000 for that. It was intensive. It would take 3 to 6 months to really help an agency install systems, adapt to changes, and start growing their business, being a bit more systematic. With AI, took a while, but we took that from 162 hours down to 30 hours roughly per client. So a 5-time efficiency gain. Not only was it an efficiency gain, once GPT was 3.5 was out there, even back in those days, it was able to, we could upload the 4-point action plan that we were going to send in our template. We were just looking at how AI could improve our efficiency and improve our results. And it gave us better outputs than what we were creating. It allowed us to really figure out where the core problem was and come up with solutions for that. And we already had that expertise. We weren't blindly following the AI. And I'm sure we'll talk about that down the road. But it was one of those client meetings where the client was, this is blowing my mind. How have you done that so quickly? Because you didn't tell people using AI when it had first come out. This was within 2 months of ChatGPT coming out. This is in January. And we were already utilizing it in the business. And I remember saying to Andy, my goodness, look what we can do with AI. And this is at the beginning. These models are going to get better. That's going to put me out of work. It will do what we do better. Now, I didn't fully understand AI the way I do today. It's been a learning curve. But I basically made the decision that AI was going to disrupt my industry and that I needed to pivot. And I needed to pivot early. So I walked away from a lot. I shut the agency down, fired all my clients. And by March last year, I launched Evolution Unleashed and went all in on AI because it is such a disruptive force and the old ways won't equal the new ways. And I knew I could see the writing on the wall. I could make good money for a few years, but then what? So instead of looking at adapting AI into my business, which would have been a smart approach, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to be someone that could provide an on-ramp for others because I noticed that people were not paying attention to the warning signs, building that sandcastle on the beach while the tsunami of disruption is bearing down on them. The conversations people are having around AI are all, in many cases, unproductive and kind of like arguing while you're building that sandcastle on the beach, So I want to give people an on-ramp, show them how to adapt to AI because people still don't realize what is coming and that the old ways won't work in the new era. And there's going to be a very disruptive period of time as we transit to an AI-driven economy.
I love that you have such tangible metrics about the difference that made and how quickly you saw that opportunity, not just for yourself, but for the businesses that you work with, many of whom I'm sure will be banging down your door before too long to get you to engage with them in the new AI world and way. So, Stu, you have described, I've heard you described, it's like a meteor hurtling towards businesses, and a lot of people have still got their head in the sand about this meteor that's approaching. For people who are listening, can you share maybe some examples, really tangible examples of how you've seen AI transform businesses? So obviously it transformed yours and you chose to disrupt your own life before AI disrupted it. So what are some other really tangible ways that you've seen AI transform businesses?
Yeah, that's a good question because we're still at the early end of the AI adoption cycle. We're still in the early sort of adopter, the visionary, the innovator phase. So the solutions we're seeing are relatively few, but the ones that are working well. So the disruption that I've already seen starting to happen, graphic design is a really good one. If you talk to graphic designers right now, many of them are struggling to find work because with AI art generation, you can now create what you need with text. So the demand for graphic design is dropping for designers, while, the demand for graphic design is increasing. So there's this kind of dual force affecting the market, which is AI. So that's one. I think Klarna probably demonstrates one of the best use cases, which is customer service. Their chatbot, which they launched back in January, specifically replaced 700 people, which is incredible. Klarna $40 million of, their shareholders are great. I don't know about the 700 people, how they feel. But from a business perspective, what's really interesting is that the AI answering calls, it took 2.3 million calls in a month. It took the time to resolve an issue from 11 minutes, people's average call time, down to 2 minutes. So think of that from a customer perspective. How much better is that as a customer to have your answer within 2 minutes instead of 11 minutes? It cut down repeat inquiries or follow-ups by 25% and achieved a satisfaction score equivalent or better than the humans that used to do it. So it's just a better all-round solution. Now you tell me, in the future, will businesses want to carry that $40 million overhead and say, nope, we're going to be all human? Or will they look at businesses like Klarna and say, my goodness, they're going to have all this extra cash. They are way more profitable. If you're a competitor to Klarna, you should be panicking because they have just taken a massive step forward. Now, there's also many perspectives we have to consider. The job loss perspective is, there's a lot of fear around that. But, we'll talk about that later. However, seeing businesses like Klarna embrace AI and having a flow-on tangible impact on their P&L, their profit and loss, is going to inspire other businesses to do the same. And that's why you're not going to be able to compete, because pricing will change. Once everyone's using AI, then we're going to be looking for other competitive differences. The costs will drop. So, the profit margins will get thinner, which will be offset by saving on the expense side. But it's going to be a messy transition. But I hope there are two examples that really sort of highlight the disruptive power of AI.
Yeah, now this podcast is called the AI Grapple for a reason, because I'm not scared to grapple with some of those more challenging topics. So rather than kicking the conversation about job loss down the later in the podcast, what are your views? And I have no judgment about how people feel about this. I think at the end of the day, we're all business owners. We're all running business. People have got a commercial focus when it comes to AI, people who are listening to this podcast. But I think there is a lot of fear around job losses. There is a lot of fear around how we're going to manage this transition. And one of the things I've been looking at, which I'd love your perspective on, is how do we use these tools to do a whole lot more with what we've got, rather than using these tools to do a whole lot less? What's your perspective on that?
Yeah, well, you're quite right in that a lot of the conversation around AI has been negative. It's going to steal all the jobs. And look, the disruptive power of AI does suggest that a lot of jobs are going to go away. And then people say, yeah, but look at every revolution, the industrial revolution, the horse and cart to car, the automobile revolution, old industries, old jobs failed. I mean, when phones first came out, there used to be hundreds of employees plugging switchboards. Oh, where would you like your call? I've got to pull that out, plug that there, and armies of these people. Now, they all went away as technology improved and that became automated. And people were worried back then about the exact same things we're worried about now, that technology was going to take all the jobs. There hasn't been anything quite like AI, because it's going to come after every industry and the disruption is going to be massive. I can't understate how powerful that disruption will be. And if you're not aware and not adapting, you are going to be a victim of AI. There's no doubt. But there's two sides to every coin. And while the media has been fixated on the job losses, and that's been a well-bandied about kind of trope about AI, that it's going to steal jobs, destroy society, and collapse capitalism. And there is some truth to that. It is going to destroy jobs. It's going to get rid of menial tasks. But on the flip side, when people forget to look, oh, well, if no one's earning, if no one's got jobs, how are they paying for services? How will the economy work? Well, what will be the new jobs? What will be the new opportunities? And the thing that you correctly pointed out in your question is that we can produce a lot more value than what we could in the past. So if you think about my agency, we took a workflow, our average blended hourly for a client would be 162 hours. Well, we dropped that down to 30 hours. So if we took 5 clients on at 30 hours, that brings us back to the 150 hours. So what do you think we'd do? Well, we're just going to work for 30 hours. We're just going to do 20% of what we used to do. And I'm going to go to the beach and play some golf and enjoy my life. No, we will do 5 times more clients. We will be able to go 5 times larger. So I'm still going to need my team. I'm not going to be firing people. I'm going to be 5xing. At the short end, the front end of the AI revolution, I'll still be able to 5x my productivity, deliver value 5 times more efficiently, make 5 times more money. So that explosion of value, and it'll be 10x, 50x, 100x over time, I think means that we're not going to do 10, 50, 100 times less. We're just going to produce a ton more. And that's going to create opportunity. And that's going to create new jobs. And that's going to create new wealth that can, be figured out. Now, long term, we do have to figure out there will be a transition. The trajectory of AI dictates or looks very clearly like most jobs will go away. And we may be going into a future, decades from now, where humans don't really have to work. You look at what's happening in robotics and this convergence with robots and AI. And now we're going to have smart androids that can come and serve us and do housework. And, what will that mean for humans? There's so many questions. But that disruption won't be as fast as people think because humans are slow to adapt. The technology is going very fast. I've never seen anything like it. And by the time humans do start adapting, I think that explosion of value will offset the downsides enough to figure out a more long-term solution. But there will need to be a complete paradigm shift.
Yeah, and I think we need to prepare ourselves to be uncomfortable for a while, because I don't think we've got the answers at the moment, which is why I love this podcast, is because we can explore some of these challenges. But, it always used to be that the futurists could stand on the hill and sort of see 5 to 10 years out. And I just don't think anyone really has a handle on exactly what it's going to look like. So it's about buckling up, fasten your seatbelt, be ready for some change. And I think those who can be adaptable and can really see that opportunity and utilize that opportunity. There's some really interesting research I've been looking into, and I'll find the link and put it in the show notes, but about how the frontline knowledge workers are actually the ones that are benefiting the most from AI at the moment, and how it's really increasing their capacity and their knowledge and ability to do their jobs, less so the more senior managers so it's very much a bottom-up approach at the moment, which is great because it means there's a lot of opportunity for people.
Absolutely. That's what people need to focus on more, I think, is the opportunity that AI brings. And while there are going to be people that fall through the cracks, and there will be cracks, the stability of uncertainty that we kind of are so used to is going to dissolve a little. It's going to become a bit weird. As you say, we're going to be uncomfortable. But there is also massive opportunity. There is massive upside. And that's why I do what I do. I want people to understand what's coming, and I want to give them strategies, tools, and methods for adapting to that era so that disruption benefits them rather than destroys them.
Absolutely. So coming back to the value that you're delivering at the moment, your approach with Evolution Unleashed, it's very direct, it's very action oriented, but talk to us a little bit about how you've grown and activated or engaged your community, and what do you think has seen that? Because your community has exploded and it's been wonderful. I spend more time in your community than I do in my own because I love the conversations that happen there, and the value that you deliver there. So tell us a bit about that journey and how that's unfolded.
Yeah, well, I'm fortunate that I learned how to build an online community back a longer time ago. In the earlier days of Facebook, I had a chocolate factory, and chocolate is a very easy thing to get engagement with. And people don't mind talking about chocolate, so it's very easy to create content. But that's when I understood the power of community. So I built a community, and back in the day, it was in New Zealand. We're a small country, about 4.7 million in the population at the time. And we grew that community to about 25,000 in a Facebook group. And we did it through just offering insane value by showing people inside the factory, giving them a bit of information about the different types of chocolate, how we did what we did, getting their feedback on flavors. It was great for market research, but generally just having fun. And this is what I think most people have forgotten about when it comes to community building, is people are on social media to have fun. They want to learn, but they don't want to be eating dry wheat mix. They don't want to be having it forced down their throat through these ridiculous value posts that are really not value posts. They're just information being forced down your throat. We need to make learning fun. We need to make AI accessible. So the focus in the first days, we started a group that had no people. So naturally, it's like, hey, here's a prompt that we wrote that helped us a lot. And I put it on my personal wall and then said, come join our new community. We're going to learn AI. We're going to go forward. But I've put some very strict rules in the community, because if you go into all the AI groups, and there are tons of them, and many that are bigger than mine, and some have learned from us and replicated, which is very encouraging. But I think our point of difference is that we just don't allow low value posts. We don't allow all the silly stuff that you see on social media. We focus on very high value conversations that are very specific. We focus on business. We focus on marketing. We focus on how to use AI to move ourselves and the people we care about forward, whether it's our business, our career, or even our relationships. We want to explore how to harness AI today. So I've made sure that the community only gets information that achieves that mission. We deliver some news, but everyone does. So when we deliver news, I put my personal thoughts on it. So I give a bit more depth and a viewpoint rather than just regurgitating news. I believe that trust is going to go away. It already is eroded. And what I mean by that is people aren't going to believe what they see necessarily. Is that a real person? Is that a real profile? But when you have community that people are part of, and that community is ring-fenced, people know that that channel is you, not a fake you, then the trust is there. And the way to build that trust is through value. And in the AI era, you're going to need value to build community, because that community will give you a buffer against that lack of trust that people have. And you'll build trust, you'll build authority. So, started with 0, put it out, invited people. It took us a while to get to that first 100, but then it just took off because people were engaging with the content. We created very valuable content. And in those days, it was just, here's a prompt, here's a prompt, here's a prompt. We were just feeding prompts, and those prompt packs were all the go back then. And those prompt packs were useless. They just had 1 and 2 lines. They might show you what's possible, but they weren't going to give you actionable output. And we've always been focused on the outcome. And I think that's the difference that set us apart. It's, yep, sure, you can do this, but here's how to do this. Here's the output. Here's why it matters. Giving people actual tangible outcomes from AI rather than just hypothetical stuff. And there's so many pro marketers, there's so many people with opinions. Who do you trust? Who do you follow? Well, I hope that you follow the ones that have given you value that you've used, seen for yourself and experienced. And we have a saying, the whole focus of our group is to show people what's possible with AI but then get them to experience what's possible for themselves so that they build that belief. Hey, this works. Look, I did this with AI. That's encouraging for them. Wow, I didn't know I could achieve that. Perception starts shifting, beliefs shift. Suddenly AI can help me. And we very much focus on how to use AI to grow your business, to overcome issues, to put in systems. And we do it all in a way that's enjoyable and fun because it's community. It's not dry. So we try and have a bit of personality. We use AI generated art with our posts. We have a separate art community now because you should see the amount of posts I decline in this group. Probably 7 or 8 a day easily. And they're all just low value that you see everywhere else. So yeah, I've really focused on creating a community where people know that the posts they see will be useful and valuable. And if there's a problem, they're confident that we know what we're doing.
You know, one of the things that really excites me about AI is how accessible it is for people. So a lot of people are fearful of technology, and generative AI, I think, has allowed people to take a massive step forward. I mean, I spoke at a conference recently where the average age in the room was 75. And I had people come up afterwards in tears saying that they'd felt so scared of the future that was coming, but now feeling like it's really accessible based on some of the examples I'd shown them. And one of the things I love about your community is that you do make it really accessible for people. But how do you find a balance, Stu? Because there is the tech side of AI with APIs and much more advanced ways of using AI. How do you find a balance between using the insane amount of technology that's available to do advanced sides of things whilst also making it really accessible for people?
Well, I tell you, that was a learning curve because when I first started our first courses, for example, like our marketing accelerator framework, foundations, which was adapt your business to AI, they worked. They were exceptional frameworks, but gosh, they were hard. And most people just couldn't do it. It was, I hadn't figured out that second part that it needs to be accessible. You know, AI can speak to you as if you're a 5-year-old in a way that you can understand advanced physics. It's absolutely incredible how versatile this tool is. So I had the realization that I needed to make things very intuitive and easy for people because there is that fear. There is, you know, humans don't do well with the unknown. We don't like new. We don't like change. You know, we're inherently comfort creatures. So by making it very easy, we attract more people and we give more people an on-ramp to AI and show them what's possible. But then how do we deal with the people that need the more advanced stuff? So there is that challenge. And basically, this is another way I use AI. So we have a very strong understanding of the different segments that we engage with in our community. So we don't just create a post to speak to the whole community always. We have created a mix, and we've used Math version 2 for this, where we create a mix of content that moves people along the customer journey. So they might be further here, they might be here. We want to speak to everybody where every piece of content has a purpose. So you'll see in what we've got scheduled coming, there's some more advanced stuff, written very simply. And then there's basic stuff for people brand new to AI. So we speak to different segments with different content, and we find that people engage with the content that resonates with them, and we get a really good way to validate what works with different segments. But it's real hard to do in your head. AI makes it very much, much easier. So I guess AI helps me find that balance because I don't know that I'll be able to by myself. It's very hard to do. I err on the side of I like systems and processes and frameworks, and I get a bit absorbed in them, and I forget that people want to understand the why. Sure, that's how, but why? Why is that important? How does it work? So, yeah.
I love my little team of custom GPTs that I built doing your marketing accelerator framework. It's a fabulous course and made it so accessible. And something then that you can replicate in all areas of your business as well once you understand that process. So we'll include a link to that in the show notes as well. So looking ahead, what do you see are the biggest trends or opportunities that businesses can prepare for
Yeah, that's a great question. Let me break it down and give a bit of context before I get to my answer, if that's okay, and come back to that adoption curve where we're still in that early adoption. And we haven't made the leap to mass adoption yet, but it's starting to happen. If you think about Wendy's in the US, their drive-thrus now are AIs taking orders, which I think is great. Because how many times do humans just muck up the order? The AI can't muck up the order. Now the packers might, but the AI will take the order accurately. So as we move from early adoption and take the leap to mass adoption, that's where things get squirrely. That's where things are going to change. And my advice is to be prepared before that happens. It's called positioning. How are you going to position yourself before that disruptive wave of mass, which is going to be fueled by that mass adoption? How are you preparing for that? So that's just to give the context. In terms of answering the actual question, there are three things I think every business owner should be doing right now. Number one, learn to communicate with AI. It speaks in natural language, so you can just sit down and start talking to it. Ask questions, be inquisitive. Find communities like ours where you can learn the basics of prompt structure. Just understand how to communicate with AI and how it works. It's not as hard as you think. As you said, with your that 75-year-old plus group, showing them how easy it actually is, because people are terrified of technology because up to now, it's been hard to master technology. You have to learn coding if you want to build products. All that's going away. It's easy now. And it's because it's language. It understands us and speaks like we do. So if we can communicate what we want, it's going to result in better outcomes. So number one, learn AI, learn how to speak to AI. Number two, start thinking about, once you learn how AI works and what it's capable of, well, what will that do to my industry? So if you look at fast food restaurants, they're going to be saying, oh, well, I need to get AI order takers. Do I need robots to make the food? How much, where does AI play a role? For small businesses, marketing is where the big opportunity is, because you can do big corporation marketing at a small business level now, which was inaccessible before.
The LLMs are great at helping you identify the trends and opportunities in industry as well, I've figured out. So,
Exceptional.
yeah, just have that conversation about what are the trends, the challenges, the opportunities. There's a lot of insight.
So I think the second thing is to really look at what others in your niche are doing. What are others who are in that early adopt camp? So who in my area of business is using AI? What are they using it for? How are they using it? Why are they using it? Go look at what they're doing. And then the third step is to start implementing some of those things in your own business. Start actually using AI for small tasks. It might be to research your target market. It might be to load your SOP, your standard operating process, and get AI to optimize and automate it. Show you how to do that. If you don't have SOPs, it can help you build those, because you cannot scale a business without systems and processes as the foundation. So, starting to use AI in different areas of your business. And again, that's where communities like ours help, because we give a lot of free value and show people different areas that they can start incorporating AI. So I encourage people to do that. And as you do that, you'll grow in confidence and you'll see what's truly possible, and you'll become converted and probably addicted, and you'll start going deeper and deeper. And you just need to keep your eyes on what's happening in your industry so that you are keeping up with those trends. But as you say, AI can also help us crystal ball gaze. And the people that get that right will be the ones that get the majority of that wave. Now, to give you a part two to that question, that's what to do if you're in business. But what if you're in a job and you're afraid that it's going to go away? Well, why not start a business? We can now build hyper-personalized businesses that are one of a kind, unique to us through the power of AI. Personalization is one of its key abilities. And we can no longer do things the old way. We can create new ways of building a business that fits us like a glove, that leans into our strengths, into the way we're wired. So it's intuitive for us to operate it and scale. So if you're in a career that you think is going to get wiped out, then think about this wave that's coming. Well, what is that wave? What does it look like? Well, when businesses start seeing their competitors take off because of AI, they're going to want AI. And when that leap to mass adoption happens, there is going to be a scramble for AI solutions. Businesses everywhere, and there are, worldwide more than 100 million businesses, 33 million small businesses in the US alone. And if they don't adapt to AI, they are going to go away. They're not going to be able to compete because AI is such a disruptive force. It lets us do things faster, more efficiently, and cheaper than ever at a much higher level. Humans won't be able to keep up with that. So businesses will have to adapt. And it's going to be this massive scramble of these businesses frantically looking for solutions to their marketing, to their growth, to their scale, to solving their customers' problems, to fixing their HR, depending on how big up that ladder you go in terms of business size. But businesses at every size of that pyramid are going to need AI solutions. So now, not then, not when the scramble happens, if you're positioned now, you've built a client base, there's enough demand to do that, and you have this personalized business model that leans into your strengths, and then you can start bringing on clients, building case studies, testimonials, getting your offer really dialed in. When that big disruption hits, you're going to ride it all the way. You are going to have an advantage over everybody else because you'll be powered by AI. You'll be driven by the AI growth, that adoption curve. And the people that are scrambling and see the opportunity too late, you'll be so far ahead. You're established. You've got credibility. You've got an audience. They're starting from zero. Who's going to win the most business? Who's going to get the lion's share of that disruption? So with that disruption, and with any disruption in our history, there's come a transfer of wealth. Uber, Netflix, Airbnb, the other big three that are bandied about as showing how they disrupted their existing industries. And that wealth transfer that accompanied that was huge. These companies had massive valuations. That's a drop compared to what AI is going to do. So being positioned now and early is where the advantage is.
And you know what I love about what you just said there, Stu, is that the more mature of us who've been around for a while in business, we actually have something really amazing to offer when it comes to AI. So if you are currently working in human resources or you have a 20-year career in human resources, finding a way that you support companies with AI and your skill set, I think is an amazing opportunity for people. We were talking just before that every man and their dogs or woman and their dogs become an AI expert. I think for those who actually have credible experience in business and in whatever industry they're working in, have got some real value to add during this time of transition. I love that, particularly for the more mature in our audience, which a lot of my audience is not just necessarily they're just starting their career, but who might be concerned about AI replacing them. I think there's an and, not an or necessarily there.
That is such a great way of looking at it. And you're so right. And the advantage at the moment belongs to those with experience and expertise, because AI isn't a replacement. This is where people don't understand truly what AI is fundamentally and what it can do. It's not a replacement for our expertise. People blindly using AI and relying on output when they have no subject matter expertise, pro marketers, they are just creating chaos, but they don't understand whether or not the output's good. They don't really understand whether or not it's a viable solution. Where AI shines is where you apply it to your expertise and you have the insights, and you can use AI to amplify your expertise, to amplify your intelligence. So to take what you want to do and give you more reach, to give you more oomph, to show you how to really refine it and communicate it. So right now, the people I'm seeing doing best with AI aren't the young people. It's the people with a lot more experience that understand, hey, if I use AI plus what I bring to the table, that's the magic now, at least into the next few years. So those of us that have a bit of experience, we're able to get more out of the AI because we're more nuanced, we're more detailed. We have those industry insights that you can only get through being in that industry for a period of time. And that gives us an advantage because AI can amplify that expertise and help us communicate it in a way that speaks even more strongly and powerfully to our target audience. So yeah, I think being older in the AI era is an advantage right now.
Great. So before I ask for your final thoughts and reflection, I always like to ask what is, and this is such a difficult question at the moment because there are so many great tools out there, but what is your favorite AI tool and why?
Now, that is a tough one because if you look at my monthly subscriptions to AI products, there are, I think, more than 15. I just signed up to Udio, and they all do different things and they all have different functionalities. But I like to look at it this way. If I could only have one AI tool, what one would it be? And that's how I come to the answer. And for me, it's ChatGPT. And the reason being, GPT-4, I think, is still the best model out there. But ChatGPT has multimodal capabilities. It can create art. You can upload video. You can upload large documents and get insights, strategy. It's by far the best of strategy. While there are a myriad of tools that I use, ChatGPT has the best functionality overall, more options, and with custom instructions, custom GPTs, that makes it a very valuable product. So for people starting out and can only afford one model, it would be ChatGPT, because while it doesn't write as naturally as perhaps Claude or Gemini, it's much better at the stuff that we need right now, which is strategy, insights. Hey, here's where I am in my business. Here's what I'm struggling with. Give me a solution. Or I'm not consistent in my client acquisition. Here's my business. How do I create a system to acquire clients consistently so I don't have to continuously feel like I'm always having to chase clients? And the AI can help with that significantly, both from a usage perspective, ChatGPT, and for a broad what you can achieve right now, it's going to give you the highest utility.
I agree. It's hard to go past good old ChatGPT. All right, Stu, that's fantastic. So as we finish up, we will absolutely include links to your community and to the courses that you run. But what's your final reflection or thought for our listeners today?
Very easy. Do not kick the ball down the road when it comes to AI. While humans are slow to adapt, this technology is like nothing I've ever seen. It is like drinking from a fire hose trying to keep up. It is developing ridiculously fast. I mean, in just this last 6 months, video's been nailed, Sora's coming, music's nailed, sound effects. For content creation, it's incredible. But if you ignore AI, or you think I don't have to worry about that, it's not really relevant for me, then you're not understanding what's coming. And I don't want to be a fearmonger, but I am ringing that bell. Pay attention. There is a tsunami coming. You don't have to like it. You don't have to agree with it. You don't have to, it doesn't matter what your viewpoints on AI is or are. AI doesn't care. And it's coming whether you're ready or not. So get prepared now.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your time today, Stu. Definitely go and join the Evolution Unleashed community. As I said, it's my favorite community to be a part of. So we'll include all of the links so that people can find you easily. And thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us today.
It's a pleasure being here, and thank you for letting me speak to your audience.
Thank you for tuning in to the AI Grapple. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with your friends and colleagues and subscribe on your favourite podcast platform. We would love to hear your thoughts, so reach out with any questions or comments about the show. Until next time, keep grappling with AI and stay curious.